Hello. Oh, wonder if people can hear me. Aha. That's why. Thanks, Windows. Okay, there we go. Now I'm audible. Hello. Things should be online now. Welcome to the Art Team Office Hours. I'm Aegis Bull. And, well, those that are just tuning in, welcome to the Art Team Office Hours. Resonite usually hosts different types of office hours, depending on the type of topic and who covers it. And people can tune in to chat or Discord. Some folks do theirs on there and ask questions to the team, and we answer them to the best of our ability. In regards to the art team, we do a lot of the 3D modeling, design work, and content within the platform itself. All the worlds that you go to, that we make, and the tools that you use, the models of even the furniture that I'm in right now, and things like that. An echo? What do you mean voices doubled? That's strange. Oh. Okay. The audio is coming from the camera viewpoint, that's why. So if I just go from here, it'll probably be better quality too, because it's directly from my microphone. That should do it. Also, welcome to the stream. I see Nuki, Sputnik, Shundelak, and Baplar. So far. Just starting now. I'll go over some of the things that the art team has been up to lately, and also kind of go over quickly what the world I'm in as well too. Kind of a place that we use to basically record tutorial videos. And those tutorial videos will also be in that panel right there. Just like quick visuals on how to do, well, depending on what it is, simple or advanced things in Resonite, depending on what you're looking up in the Help tab. And those of you in chat, if you want to ask a question, simply just type in a question and make sure to put a question mark at the end. It will show up on the chat as a question. I really need to add like a option to this camera, probably sometime next week when I get time. Because like for me, I end up looking at the camera and then I end up getting it like backwards. It's just how the camera's mirrored to me. As in the in Resonite's menu for like the streamer camera, I can also flip the preview in that menu, but I can't on this camera. And I think it should be a little checkbox, probably on the top. A little switch where you can just flip it around, and then, yeah, that should help a lot of folks, including myself. We have a question now, first one of the day, from Modify ARG. Is there going to be a public beta of the help passage soonish? Well, implementing it will be probably during splitting, because any builds pretty much will be post splitting, and that would be including the code that adds a new tab into your browser or dashboard. that'll house it. But probably by the end of this week, most likely, or in the next few days, depending on how long it takes to set up the final stuff for it, is to release the locale and have it being proofread by the mentors at large so that they can help out proofread and those that want to translate early be able to see all the different locales there to kind of get a head start and have the community help pitch in with the sheer amount of, well, content that has been written within that panel. There's a few new things I will showcase that we added in the past few days, and some of the stuff that I'm going to be working on today and tomorrow. Mainly been recording some videos and re-recording some as well. But yeah, almost, I'd say like 90% of the content's there, and that's not even including any of the proofreading stuff. So the proofreading, that's just going to be another pass, and then it's pretty much ready to go. And it kind of, I think I should get into the habit too of what Fuchs does with the questions, is simply just put them up here so that I can see which question I'm covering, and so that folks can see who asked the question as well too. Yeah. Also, welcome to the stream, Izzy. I'm gonna make these things non-grabbable. That should do it. Well, yet another question. This time I'll now start bringing them out. This one from Modify ARG again. Is there a form we can send help topics so it can be included? There is a GitHub issue that has all the progress that we've been making and feedback that people have been inputting in there. And if you have feedback, please put them there. Even if, we already have that information in there, it's good to know that, hey, people need this stuff in the help tab. And the scope of the help tab, to kind of go over it to those that aren't familiar, it's a new tab in your dashboard that will show new users and existing users information of what they would need. Whether it be creating stuff in here, learning how to find people if they just want to socialize, or find games to play using like the menus in here, or from simple things to esoteric things like the different bot commands you can use within Resonite is also listed in there. The common cloud variables, rich text formatting, and if those aren't from people aren't familiar, that's how you can like tint text in different colors, make them bold, and italics. I kind of covered that in a previous stream, but things like that is listed in there. So not only it's a guiding tool for new users, but also a field manual for anyone out there, including people on the team. Because, I mean, there's quite a few times where a few of us, even on the team, it's like, oh, I gotta type out the entire thing for like a command, and then it's just, okay, you have a copy button in there. Um, Before I forget to finish on that question, I will bring in the link to it, but I can't really post a link on stream as well, but I will copy the number. If you go onto our GitHub, which is public, it is issue 1123, and that is the issue on the help tab. And I am going to place this right here. Now for the proofreading stuff, it will be another GitHub repo for like the locale and stuff like that. That will be open once it's done. Right now, it's going through like an internal proofreading throughout the team because we're still adding stuff to it, and that doesn't mean anybody can't, add feedback. They always can through there, so it helps like having it in all in one place so that we can take a look at it. Not everything will be written down in the help tab. Like I can also showcase some of the stuff that we're adding to it while we're here. So let's kind of exit. There we go. We have a couple of new changes. The help general section was changed from general settings to general. And this is where things like, your voice options would be, online status, and like favoriting. I do have a version of the locale string that we have been working on internally, so that some of these are like already filled out. But some of them are still. If anybody sees text like this, that means either it hasn't been translated yet, or it hasn't been set up in locale. So, uh, yeah, there's still plenty of things that we want to get to post splitting when we have more time, like the buildings and avatars. We do have a brief overview of avatars that shows people how to how to equip it, how to find them, how to save them, wear them if they're spun out in the world, and where to find more of them. It's like there's now also a tab within the Worlds browser. This is actually before that tab existed, but within your Worlds browser in your dashboard, there's a new category not too long ago that was added that is just for avatar worlds. So if anybody creates a world that's tagged for avatars, it will appear there. Now we have a good question from Norlock. All right, let's get through this real quick. Actually, was there anything else that was new to before I get to there real quick? Uh, okay, yeah, a lot of the controls portion has been written down as well. Though pictures and videos for some of this content has yet to be made. That's why I'm in this world at the moment as well. I think that's it, other than getting pictures of this as well. Yeah. Let me spawn out the modal again. Otherwise, I'd have to go in the inspector to do it. But yeah, let's go over your question real quick. You position it here. More reason for me to add that checkbox to the camera so I can flip the view. Alright. Norlock asks, I have nothing against the current UI, but why modals like login modal or sign up is so basic? I mean, it's because code limited with the current UI making, the code base of Resonite? Well, modals are mainly there for when new users are checking this out or when you open this for the first time. Some of it is like overall the UI. Like in regards of modals, are you talking about when you import something, like it pops up a menu or so, or that's is I mean, it is still in development. A lot of the building blocks have yet to be made, but the simplistic style is pretty much what we've been going for as well. And for those not familiar with what modal is, it's a pop up that's like this. There's some weird terms within UI development as well, I remember. But when you open up the help tab in the first point or first place, it will show up this modal here, and it has these options here, kind of like a pop-up dialog, and it literally is another UI layered on top of the canvas. So it's two canvases on top of each other. Like you can literally go in, grab this dev tool, and literally move this around. Although it is masked within this, as if I look at this at an angle, it kind of disappears. So it's designed like that to also help work with the curved panel of the UI. Yeah. So it gives you 5 options here of like the different aspects of Resonite, or you can just click this and then click any of these, or I like to browse on my own, and it won't show ever again when you open it up. But if you don't check it, it'll show up again. And I think I broke it. That's weird. That pretty much covers the extent of what's been working on with that. Ah, okay, let's see here. We got another question from Modify ARG. Would would one reset the don't show again option if they so choose? This is a facet, so technically you can take it out and swap it out with a new one if you really wanted to. So that's probably a way you would be able to do it. That's why it's able to be spawned out in this world as well. And this panel will not only be in your dashboard, it'll also be within the tutorial world as well as the Avatar gazebo. Man, my mouth tracking has been weird. Maybe I need to recalibrate it or something. Ah, there is a cloud variable for it. Now, I don't recall exactly how Ravy set it up. I could poke them about it later today. And that's another question that Modify ARG asked as well. Now to get to another question that Shundalak asked. This one's a good one as well. Will there be some sort of guidance to the help tab? Now I'm assuming like some way to show users that this exists. Now, not only with the refresh that we did a while ago to optimize all the assets and pretty much ship of Theseus, all the stuff that we made for like the tutorial, Cloud Home, etc. Kind of adding what we can to the tutorial by adding some new elements here and there that would guide users how to use their dashboard, for example. And we can guide them to this help tab as well too. Especially if this will showcase pretty much everything that they'll need. Ideally, what we want to do is make a tutorial experience that's narrative driven and modular so that not only people will be able to choose what they want to learn them out and have like basically free reign of like how they would want to learn about Resonite because they can go as deep as they want or as shallow as they want and go right into like games that people make or just I'm just looking at my mouth and then it's like mouth tracker's being weird, but if they want to socialize, they can. Yeah, things like that, as well as being narrative. Think of things like Portal or games that like Myst. Actually, that's one of the main inspirations for the art style that we've been doing for the tools, the worlds that we've been making, at least the main Dawn art style that we've been dubbing. Yeah. We'll be revisiting or doing another pass on the tutorial world as well once we're done with the help tab. There's a few more things that we got to do, and we're going to go through and set up the reflection probes pretty much the last pass because any changes that we do to the world, like with lighting or props or anything, I know compressinator in this build is gonna be horrible to bake, but we're gonna have to make that sacrifice, and that's gonna be painful. But I know Prime has been working on fixing that. And hello, and welcome to the stream, Griffin. But yeah, even the local home is gonna have a bit of a polish up on it. One of the things I've been going through is messing around in FL Studio, thinking of different inspirations of trying to improve the ambience of the local home as well. Especially when, well, one of the inspirations came out recently with the new chapters of Deltarune, so I've been looking at that too. I totally did not research what stuff he used. It's pretty cool to think that like Toby Fox uses FL Studio out of all things. It is a good program. It's like one of those that you pay only once and you just have it. Although, like, you may have to pay other things for like instrument samples or other things like that, but something like that is a really powerful program. Ah, we have another uh, question from Modify ARG. Ableton. That's another tool that I know some of my friends use. It is pretty interesting. I want to check it out sometime. Is it like FL Studio, where it's like a one-time purchase, or is it like a subscription? I know you can do like a lot of audio effects too with it. Now, for the question, what would it require to have color emojis in game? Now, if you're talking about like emojis of like say people that type in here, I mean you can tint colors in here using like the color command and rich text formatting, which I can just go right in here and click on this. There we go. But if you're talking about like full on like glyphs and stuff like that, if I recall, it's also under here as well too, sprites and glyphs. Because it's a little bit different when it's like referring to like Twitch emoticons and stuff like that. I think there is a bug with it right now that needs to be fixed or something that needs to be updated with it, whether it be content wise or code wise. I do not remember. This is a good question to bring up either on Tuesdays on Prime's office hours or Sundays Fuchs's Resonance podcast office hours. But essentially, how these work, you can basically make a collection or list of sprites in a component, and then you get the URLs, and then you refer to them by a name, and then within a text, you have like the sprite name. If you look on the right over there, sprite name equals X, whatever it is. Same with glyph name. You would replace the X with whatever name you made that. So, because I do remember at some point this engine having capability of that, so it is a good question to ask on those two office hours. I mainly do a lot of the content within Resonite, not as much coding, unless if you consider messing around in Blender shader nodes and Protoflux in here. Although I do am learning C Sharp through Protoflux, which is interesting. As in just seeing how Raivi codes things in here and other folks. It's not that far off. Just all the uh like the specifics. As well as working on the locale itself. We've been using what was it, VS Code instead of a Google Doc, which we were originally using to write down the original versions of the English version of the locales that we can post onto GitHub. And then we swap to a plugin that's in VS Code, which is like another version of Visual Studio, a bit lighter one, and then has like a ability to real-time collaborative typing within it. It was pretty interesting. A little finicky, and then yeah, but it worked much better than a Google Doc. Yeah, Live Share, that plugin, as well as I think, was there any other plugins? Nah, other than the spell check one. Yeah, it desyncs, but it worked for us, at least enough for us to get it done. And it was much less painful than having our retinas burned on the screen looking at a Google Doc. But it'll be easier once it's on GitHub as well to even update it more. It's just for now, while it was like being internally written at first, so. And then how it's formatted also makes me think about how code is formatted in general, which is interesting. Messed around with written code and like multiple other games and such. Ah, good to know this too for future use cases. Although for something like VS Code, if you're like writing code or locale, probably best to write it in a program that deals with code rather than a document, because it actually highlights the different parts of the uh, code and locales and tints it in different colors. So it technically is a piece of code. It just is like a list, a huge list, even more huge because of the amount of lines of text that this alone has. If I recall, it's like getting to about 2/3 of what the settings menu is in regards of amount of locale strings in general, but probably amount of characters, like individual characters, probably more than the settings menu at this point, especially because we added a few more pages the past couple of days. And I see that Shundalak also posted a link of the locale. Especially if you know another language that hasn't been translated yet, or at least parts of the uh, thing. Oh wait, it censors it. I can bring up. Should be in our Discord as well too. But I'm going to find the locale real quick. I do have the GitHub open for the help tab, and I can just make a new tab real quick. Yellow Dogman locale. Then copy that, paste that. There we go. Anybody wants to contribute to the locale within Resonite, this is how you'll be able to do it. I don't know exactly how the upcoming one will be set up, but once it will be set up, there will be an announcement at that point for the help tab. And not just the help tab, there's also a couple other things like rewriting some things in the tutorial world, the teleporter device that Rayuvi's been working on, and a pop-up menu that'll be within your or just a pop-up really in your Cloud Home that'll tell you if your Cloud Home's outdated or not. Yeah, I don't know the exact settings of the Twitch chat, but this should help out. You just set this under here. Oh, I'm just grabbing a pillow here accidentally. Yeah. Actually, another thing too, while I have this out here, I go to About, I go to Badges. If you translate then Resonite, you can get a badge. Also, I noticed too that we got moderator as blue, mentor is green, and translator is red. So we got RGB. And of course, the Resonite team icon is rainbow. Supporter badge is within another part. It's under account. It's all categories here. Because like you got the accessibility and all that miscellaneous. I like the description of the bottom one. I remember making that icon in GIMP one day. There will be a badge for each hero. Are we gonna have a hero badge? Sputnik asks. Someday, maybe? Probably. I know I created some badges I showcased a while ago, recreating some of the older ones that we wanted to update. Probably the only one off of this list that won't be updated, or only ones, is probably the Durian Linux and Invalid ones, but I have already made replacements for all these. Also, the headless client one has been updated, or will be updated as well. These still need to be updated, and be interesting to see like other colors. There's only like 3 colors left of the spectrum of colors. You got orange, yellow, and purple. Be interesting to see. Ah. Modify ARG asks, why do the fruit badges need to be redesigned? Mainly for consistency with the art style. Some of them kind of break that style, mainly like the Linux one. It's a Linux logo. And to answer Shundalak's question, invalid, can I get a resurrect to that? We're probably going to leave the tux alone. It'll stay as is. It's just the other ones needed to be updated. Uh, let's see here. It's like some of them are just PNGs of it, and then one of them is like a stylized one that is in a different style of the others. So yeah, if I let me get the resurrect of the badges real quick. Of the invalid, I can just probably even send you the badge. Where did it go? Variables was under here, or assets. Okay, there we go. About badges, misc, data, badge. Well, I guess that's the resdb. Let's do a select all. Copy. And then what if I actually just paste it in here? Just as that. Does that mean if I go into a empty object here, create one, go to assets, static texture 2D, and then just paste this in here, and I close it out. Ah, there it is. All right. I'm gonna have to open up chat in Twitch. So I know there's a Twitch chat within. Paste. Have fun. There we go. Fun fact, that badge was made during a time when we needed to make badges for like teams. Oh, someone just must have came into chat. Uh, to answer your question, Roxas, there we go. That's a link that if you take and put into Resonite, it basically links to a specific asset within the cloud. And what that asset is this little icon right here. And that's how links work within Resonite. That's like the raw asset. Say if it's a mesh of like a model or texture, audio file, font file, etc. It's all referenced using a link. As long as you have an instance of an object that has that link, it exists. So say if you save a version of that icon somewhere, and then somebody deletes it normally out of their inventory, another version of it, it still shares that same link or same asset. That way, it technically saves it once throughout the entire cloud. So every single version of that help tab facet will have the same link to that icon. And if the icon ever changes, And the link stays the same, it'll change for everyone. Uh, well, uh, if you said that your system crashed with it, do want to let you know that we are within the midst of a performance upgrade lately. If you look within the Discord and on YouTube, you can see devlogs that Frooks have been posting about updating Resonite to basically perform better by a lot as well. To make things short, Resonite is a hybrid platform where it uses two engines. Think of it as like one engine within a car, or one type of like source energy is Brooks engine, which is the baseline thing, and the other one, which is Unity, which is everything that is rendered. Now, a lot of it was more intertwined with each other at first, and then with several updates prior, different parts of that has been basically recreated or unplugged from Unity to run solely on Frooks engine. Things like the audio system, and even earlier on, the uh, the particle system within Resonite has been completely rewritten from scratch, and it just tells Unity what to do. And Unity doesn't even care about audio. It's literally nothing else. Probably maybe a little bit here and there with like video players. I know Frooks was re-implementing that lately. But that's probably more specifics that I don't really know off the top of my head. But essentially, it's just making it easier to the point where sometime down the line we can swap out Unity's rendering engine for something else, like as simple as just taking out a graphics card, putting a new one in, installing the drivers, boom, as a comparison or, uh, I guess, metaphor. And also part of that update is improving the, at least on this side of the art team, which is what I do as long as, or as well as few others on the team. We mainly do a lot of the 3D modeling, world building, avatar making, etc., like official content. And we've been basically refurbishing every single part of the beginner's experience right now, adding a few updates here and there. And then once we have more time, after what is called the splittening by Frooks, which is that performance update, we'll have more time to uh, build out something much more interactive for new users. But things like making a in-game uh, travel guide, basically within your browser or desktop or dashboard, yes, is something that'll help both new and existing users. Did we update that? Oh yeah, we did. Good. Also, I'd like to point out what's funny is some things are still yet to be made in the locales, which is including Yellow Dogman Studios as a locale string. So it's just blank right now. Because the same thing is with Resonite, which is technically coded as app name, so it's like a generic term that can just be placed in any single piece of locale, and it just replaces whatever that's thing in the brackets with Resonite. And then what's funny is when I click on the stuff about Yellow Dog Man Studios, it just says we are. Ooh, this is a great question. Also, would be a good question to ask also on Sunday or Tuesday, whether it be if you're asking Fruits this question or Prime, but I'll give you my thoughts on that. This question from Modify ARG: how useful would it be to have geometry node support in Resonite? Now, that would be amazing, but what if it's just another form of protoflux that interfaces with mesh generation? It basically would be its own form of node-based like editing that uses the node-based stuff within here directly. Say instead of say editing different things within a scene, it just edits stuff within a mesh. I mean, you could technically mess around with mesh. Uh, mm, like procedural meshes within here, like a box, sphere, torus, cone, etc. There's also there's quite a few, and there's a lot of things you can make directly within Resonite using those. Like actually within the help tab under getting started and building basics. I mean, technically brushes as well are also a form of procedural mesh, but I have like a video showcasing both brushes and the shape tool as well as other procedural meshes. And those are like a bunch of examples of stuff that I've made and others that use entirely just simple shapes or like complex shapes that use algorithms to generate. Ah, this is another good question from Roxas 300. Is anything planned in terms of protoflux tutorials? I've found a few learning one worlds and posts online was still hard to wrap my head around. So, in regards of like the stuff on building, that page in particular does not cover protoflux in detail or even really at all. It just says that it exists. The point for that is to showcase very simple tools to build things in here, like the brushes and the shape tool. Like creating like a simple, for example, in this demonstration I did, like a bonsai tree in a small flower pot using like the color tool, the glue tool, stuff that like people can just pick up and literally just make things right then and there. But in the end, this part will link to both the Flux tool and the Dev tool in separate pages and separate categories. As like just showing like a brand new user like these advanced tools. If they're a builder and they're interested, that's great. If they aren't, it's not really that helpful to them. That's why it's going to be in its own category. At first, it won't be there, as we still need to make out the different functions or write down the different steps to how to use both the dev tool and the protoflux tool. What I do recommend, at least in the meantime, you got the wiki, you got the uh, YouTube, you got Discord within mentors in the platform. They also host their own uh, sessions as well. What format are the videos in the help sections? If I recall, they're MP4, but they're very short. One thing I would like to politely disagree about this. There's a lot that you can do. You don't have to be a creative to use Resonite. You can play games within here that people have made. You can hang out with other people while they edit your avatar, for example, or even just hang out, watch YouTube videos that you can just drag and drop in here. Like the way that I brought in the videos to even install it into this panel is by literally dragging and dropping it onto the window. Actually, hold on here. If I go into importing files, I don't know if it'll load or not, but you can drag and drop things directly in there, like models and stuff, and share it with your friends. And like the philosophy that Fruits talked about is you go to your friend's house or something and they work on stuff in their garage. You may not know all the power tools or anything. You just hang out while he, I don't know, uses his wrench or something on like a car or so or bike. You may not have to know how to use it or even want to use it at all. It's the fact that you coexist in the same realm as like the place you build stuff in. Think of like people compare this. The closest comparisons that people have done are to things like Second Life, Gary's mod. I like to also compare it to Halo's Forge mode, where you can just mess around whatever you want. You can even just mess with your friends too by posting memes or just pranking each other and all that. It, yeah. Some people even refer it to as a shitpost engine, as Fruks also said as well. I think a lot of the issues have been either both the performance, which is currently being worked on, and the lack of discoverability of content. And that's like what has been being worked on right now. Having the ability to go into a world at the end of that tutorial, that teleporter that goes to the cloud home, that is being updated. It'll be a teleporter that am I do I have access to it? I'll have to ask getting to ask Ravy for that too, where he saved it. But that teleporter has a option to not only go to the cloud home if you want, which that teleporter also is in the cloud home, but it also has the option to go to an avatar gazebo, which is a world that has a bit of a selection of avatars as well as tutorial information on how to find avatars and wear them, and eventually a building area building area there to build it from ground up if you want to know how to do that. And another option within that teleporter, which will also be in the avatar gazebo, so you can like go between any of those worlds as well. Um, the main thing that would help users is a world browser right in that teleporter that'll show you the top most populated worlds within Resonite. And people can just go straight in and see what's going on in public worlds there. We have a question from Nuki. Will the teleporter be easier to customize? I wanted to make one last year where you could just plug in world orbs, but we couldn't figure that out. I am not sure. I mean, you could probably be using the probably duplicating the buttons that go to like a cloud home and that because it goes to a specific world URL or URI. Uh, right now, one of the things we also want to add, probably in the near future, this is partially have been done like content wise by Prime actually, is a worlds you're in facet as well. Though there's some things that need to be added to worlds in general, or at least the way you fetch worlds, and those are like within the realms of data feeds. Oh, tracking. Data feeds in a nutshell is like a collection of data, a feed of data. Users in a world are a data feed. The amount of data feeds are a data feed. It's data feeds all the way down. I wish I had that meme on hand because I could just quickly post it, but alas, I can't find it. uh, Shundalak asks another question about the teleporter. Will the teleporter only show public sessions or also registered users ones to users with an account? Now, that is a good question. I think it just shows like worlds that can be joined by registered users or open users. I would have to see, because I think there is a way to adjust it. So far, there's a way to like adjust it to uh, show stuff that's hosted on Headless and stuff that isn't. But there's math, like just simple math within the teleporter that just tells the list in the UI, hey, does this have more than one user display it, or more than a set amount of users? It displays the top five, and then it cuts up from there. But yeah. I'd have to take a look because I'm not familiar with setting up the data feeds for that. I think I may as well showcase the world that I'm in right now too, as in simply just spin around the camera real quick. This is all that's in the world. There isn't really much. It's just like a gradient world with a default avatar in it with a light attached to its head. Really. I looked at my yeah, it technically is a public world. Anybody can check it out. There's not really much in there other than just some notes. So, yeah. I see what you did there, modifier G. Uh, the thing is, there is a rich text format thing that specifically excludes formatting or no parse. So, yeah, I think, yeah, Jack the Fox Hutter made the Twitch chat I'm using right now. So, although it'll be pretty neat once we get glyph support again so that we can see all the different little emoticons that people post. Speaking of, I think we should make some Twitch emoticons someday. At least some custom ones. Well, there is, I think, ways to exclude certain parsing, but that has to be done via the code. That'll probably be like a future thing. Gloopy with a knife on Twitch chat. There's an idea. Oh no. I remember that also on the Discord. May as well showcase this as well. One of the things I've been working on the side, I've showcased this before, but I've gotten a lot of progress on. And that's this tool right here. Doesn't look much yet like on a tool itself, but I do have concepts of what to model it like, the style that we've been doing, but it's mainly the menu that has been worked on quite a bit. All this does, it just takes a set of assets within an asset pool and randomly places objects where you place them. Say if you place trees or plants or buildings in a large city or something, you'll be able to do that. This is all custom tool made entirely in here using Protoflux, UIX, and procedural meshes so far. It has a suite of different options as well. Also, to quickly answer your question, modify ARG, yeah, it is filtered. Ah, I'll quickly answer Rox's question here. Because I wasn't online for a while. What is the state of Resonite currently? So, currently there is a pre-release. I did kind of cover it a little bit earlier, but that pre-release version is the splittening build, or test build, or the testening. And that is the performance update within Resonite, which basically changes the runtime of how the code runs right now. Right now, the code of Fuchs engine is bound to how Unity's code runs, which is using what is called mono, which is outdated compared to, well, what .NET is, which is a type of code runner that Microsoft made that is open source. This is a better question for Fuchs on like the details on that, but uh, basically it improves it to the point where like normal worlds in here will just feel so much smoother. Larger worlds that have a lot of complex stuff going on will just be, well, easier, lighter. Now, still, just like with any platform that has user generated content, please optimize your assets, worlds, etc. if you can, because that still will always be relevant. And Resonite currently is more CPU heavy due to being running on Mono compared to .NET 9 currently, which is what actually the server build or headless build that Resonite is using. So a headless build literally is just Resonite made for hosting your own worlds that doesn't have any part of Unity in it. so that you can doesn't render anything. It's just all terminal. It has all the data there, so you can run your own host your own worlds using a headless client from supporting one of our tiers. I don't remember off the top of my head, but yes, it is available through there. And other than the splitting the other state, or rather, content wise, is just refurbishing what we have for the tutorial, adding things like a in-game field guide, updating tutorials where we can, and planning out the future when we have more time. Uh, Brooks has elaborated on the question. Is it in a state where basic features are complete soon, or is there still a lot to be planned? Uh, Resonite will never be complete. It's like one of those games that'll always like evolve over time. There's stuff that you can like do in here. There's plenty of things you can do. Like even if we don't have the optimizations right now, there's plenty of stuff you can do. And some of the things I've been doing is just building things in the meantime to get ready for it. When there's like more folks in here, or when there's other projects that we start working on, it's like there's of course going to be people waiting for certain features specifically down the line. That's fine. That's why this game is technically, well, it's a beta. There's quite a few things left to, I guess, make it more complete in a way, but it'll be a while. Things like rigid body physics, collections, update to the IK, things like more UI updates. That list goes on. But yeah, that isn't stopping quite a few people trying it out, anyways, or at least following it or supporting the project. I mean, supporting the project gets you to those goals as well. Keeps the lights on, keeps us working on this, focusing on it without having to worry about things. Yeah. One of the things that even Fricks was saying too is that this program will eventually be also. I'd like to mention this too. This is a pretty cool concept of this being an overlay almost. I know I think he talked about it on the latest Resonance. Either that or he's gonna bring up that topic on the next one. I think he should. Um, or I think he already covered it quite a few Resonance podcasts ago. But in a nutshell, you know those programs that would overlay like an avatar or other menus in another VR game. Now imagine you have a world within Resonite. Like say, imagine the background here of this gradient here is swapped out for a completely different game and it's overlaid into it. For example, someone's playing Beat Saber and they have their Resonite avatar in the exact same spot where they are, slicing the different things, like different blocks and all that. And you have other people in the background just sitting out, chilling, or maybe they're playing their own instance of Beat Saber or whatnot too, but also having a shared session within Resonite talking to each other almost like a group chat. Now, this would allow people to even use other social platforms while being in this one as well. You could be in here, in VR chat, in chill out, and whatnot at the same time. You can hang out with your friends while messing with your avatar within Resonite or using WebSockets or OSC stuff within here to interface directly into VR chat by being able to have like a menu or so or a facet on your arm, and then you just press buttons and it does stuff. How crazy is that? Yet another extension to the question. What is the MVP for the team is aiming for? That is still also hard to determine, especially right now, because there's like quite a few things that I haven't even listed while talking about like the stuff that we're looking forward to. There's things like mesh editing in here, like not just node editing based editing that I was like mentioning earlier, which I mean not only just mesh editing with nodes, imagine DSP with audio, like where you can like add effects to audio or be able to edit it not only in real time but like edit audio after the fact, making textures like if anybody messed around with shader nodes in Blender as well, stuff like that. Hell, even materials as well, not just creating like procedural textures but also imagine messing around with the shaders in here. Things like kind of like a universal SDK kind of deal where people can build upon it to make SDKs to convert assets from here to other game engines or vice versa. Say for Unity, Unreal, Crysis Engine, Godot, and whatnot. There's a lot. Oh, and things like actually manipulating the triangles as well. That'll be pretty cool in here. Imagine something like Blender or sculpting in here would be pretty neat. It's, there, yeah, that's why it's like hard to determine a date, because it for something that like this. I think it's a rather of what can you do now to prepare for the future, as well as what things that we need to prioritize now. Like right now, the main goal is, I guess, current and rough MVP, I guess, for an update would be the splitting update, which is like performance, but that's not like an end all thing for Resonite's complete now. We're done. No, that just goes to the next chapter. Although I think some of us need a break after the splitting, to be honest. Gives us time to recharge. And I do see a question from Kite TV or VT. Kite VT. So I asked about the Dawn asset plans in a previous team office hours, but is there a plan to add more plants in the future? I asked this, but I wanted to ask again to get another answer. Rue made some plants recently and added to them. Like I think a couple streams ago he did add them to the essentials. We do want to add more over time. It's just a matter of time. Like a lot of the time that like I've been or spending I've been spending most of my time on either working on the help tab, working on the that tool that places things, and the rest is just life. You can only fit so much things within there. There we go. Now there's not no more cones. Neat thing about that placement tool, it puts it under a object root that you can name yourself or assign it to whatever you want. Let me just get this here. How do I'm just gonna turn off the look at, because I want to keep the camera as is. Can I showcase this real quick? Okay, that's the slider. That's the look at user. Bingo. This thing has a lot of options within it. Got like different shapes of where it would place things, different adjustments of how big those shapes would be, and where you're placing it from. Like right now, the laser to place objects around is on the tool. You can also have it on like your other hand, your head, or even where you look at. So if I equip this, I'll probably, yeah, it's placing where the asset's going to place, or the tool's going to place where I'm looking at. It's pretty interesting. Then if I go to the slot manager and I unequip, there we go. So you got like a container where that asset is placed, the asset pool, which is all the different assets you want to place down, like what it takes from, like, say you have a collection of different plants, you can put them in there, or different rocks or whatnot. And then you can add a new slot to the asset pool or cycle through each one, rename it, retag it, stuff like that. You can also add random rotation or scale, the usual things you would see in like a scatter tool. Kind of like a brush, but for assets. Yeah. I think another type of plant pack would be some kind of like evergreen or some kind of like colder environment kind of like plants, like a bit more pine trees. I know we got one in there, but like other plants that would also either be snow covered would be really nice, or stuff that would be in the desert. I know we got tropical plants that could also somewhat be in like an oasis in a desert. That would be interesting. There technically is an oasis plant-like group in the essentials already. So if I go to inventory, Resonite essentials, assets, Resonite assets, 3D models, plants. Is this the one that has the animated texture? Oh, where is it? There we go. I'll spawn out. There we go. Here you go. You got some banana trees, some palm trees, and some small plants too. And also underwater plants would be a good addition as well. Just thinking about it too. Coral reefs, just depends on like what we're building. Yeah, there's usually two sets of each of these. One that has the animated material for the leaves and branches for like trees, and then one that doesn't. So, yeah. And I think these have LODs already on them. Although they do have the mapping on the textures already. So that's pretty good. Actually, I should check on time. I wasn't doing so. Wow. We're almost an hour and a half in. We'll end it at an hour and a half, which is about 5 minutes. So, yeah. If anybody else has questions, we got 5 minutes left. Okay. Uh, favorite meal? That is a good question. For some reason, I crave like battered chicken tenders that are also glazed in like buffalo sauce and some either blue cheese or ranch right now for some reason. Although jalapeno poppers, like actually homemade baked ones, are really good. That would probably be my favorite. Although that's more like a snack, although it's still good. Especially like with seasoning on top of it. Yes. Bacon wrapped jalapeno poppers even better. I also want to try it with habaneros sometime. It's like that's probably like usually the spiciest pepper I'd have normally would be that. Although there's other exceptions. Like there's a ghost pepper barbecue sauce from like Pepper Palace that is really good. This is like honey barbecue, and then there's like yeah, crab salad. Ooh, I would try that. I don't eat much seafood, but I would try that. I'm usually the one that would try a lot of things at least once. Brooks is probably more crazier with spicy foods than me. He has like ghost pepper, Carolina Reaper, like chili powder, and it's like, oh. I mean, like, for sauces in some cases, yeah, I can handle it mostly, but there is one time where, like, IRL, I was hanging out with Fruits, and Ryuvi got him a hot sauce for his late birthday gift at the time, because he was also there. Ryuvi was also there in person, and it was another one from Pepper Palace called The End, and it was like packaged in like a book kind of like packaging, and then when you open it up, it has like the bottle inside the book, like a wax seal that you had to like break with like a knife or something. That was interesting. It had like a more paprika like flavor, but that was probably the spiciest thing that both Brooks and I had. We kind of regretted it one morning because I think we had too much of it. Um, Yeah, and there's like another version of that hot sauce that I have at home, which is like Flatline. It's called the End Flatline. It's like a smaller bottle, and it's slightly more spicier. It just tastes the same. It's like that. It tastes like paprika, like a sauce mixed with paprika. It's not bad. It's just interesting. Mm, damn it! Now I'm hungry. I'm definitely gonna be getting myself something to eat after this, and then probably going back to recording some videos in here for the help tab. Well, good note to end it on. Well, I hope everyone here has a good rest of their Wednesday or Thursday, depending on where they are in the world, and take care. Let me just close out a couple things here. And yeah, bye bye.